His compassion, a love that's never failing. Let mercy fall on me. Everyone needs forgiveness, the kindness of the Savior, the hope of nations, Savior.
This is Chariot TV.
Hello, Mama Kwaba, Eba Chariot TV, you may so, and Saturday, 11th of May, 2024. Ready there we do. Kakra yeko, afeno kwa yeko. Na eno you may dear, actually straight talk. Eno, ana echegu, unim se me de bia dura, numre, non so abono na yehiem, on kwankwani ase. Na yesua de yesua Bible yekenkan Bible yesua Bible kakra sa na yekọ anim na eno na aduru so medi ho chia me media ne Jonathan Mensa Bonsu na say afei anu aba so abomode na click on the like button, click on the share and also subscribe. You still click on the like button, you share and you subscribe. Won't subscribe with Charity TV na the car was up, so you can get Charity TV on all social media handles. At the moment, we are streaming live on Facebook, we are streaming live on X, and we are streaming live on YouTube. And all these social media handles, you'll get us there. Facebook, YouTube, and X. You go there, you get us. And you just have to go there and search Chariot TV on YouTube or Chariot TV on Facebook. Especially Chariot TV on YouTube, you just click on the subscription button. Now, what subscribe so there's a small bell there, notification bell. Just hit the notification bell. No, you call live more notification. Now, so team are joining in. You can go to Facebook and like our page, like a page. They will add you to the page, and you can join the page. And then there's a feed, a news feed from us, or you call live. You'll be notified. Send a mail. Also, be team are joining in. A live show. I'll be the whole champion anyway. And so click it. Or drop a comment in the comment section while me who that means let me akan ama now boa on so so they make and we are live on Facebook, we are live on YouTube, and we are live on X. Most Isaac Major at the comment about or YouTube and Facebook or say watching live. And do drop a comment in the comment section me who that means so makan ama the issue one day no the book of Daniel and visions Daniel Humano any Ediye. Yeah, that's really Ediye. No, Ediye Revelation. That I saw something like Ediye or something like that. The book of Daniel and visions. Nameka was said we have done part 1, part 2, part 3, and this is a part 4. Part 1, part 2 was basically a background to the book. Yes, I said maybe ever buying. I'm me any anti-ase book. So only more make the book of Daniel from chapter 1 to 12, they are not arranged chronologically. Something I can in our previous video, you can go back and watch it, you see it there. They are not arranged chronologically. Chronologically, say any this one, this was say what chronologically. It is like chapter 1 follows chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. Chapter 5 in follow you, then it comes to chapter 7. So from chapter 4, you shift to chapter 7, chapter 8, then you come back to chapter 5. Then chapter 5, chapter 6, chapter 7, then 9, 10, 11, and 12. So if you are to arrange the book chronologically, that is how chronologically it look like. Now, Asentria and the main thrust of the book, as someone book and I say God is in control. Now, and that's why we control. And in the book, we see so many passages catch and say God rules in the kingdom of men. Now, we nipa hinimu, and he's in charge of affairs. In charge, and that is how far yako. Last week we spent some time in chapter 1. Abra minya obed ebeji akunya na otutu dwumedi maye se na be have no me betimi so ahwe sa dwumedi. So we spent time dealing in chapter 1 and kasa about Daniel and his 3 friends. Kwan Yakopon mo free Jerusalem eba Babylon. And then Masenya Brashadra ko nche wagina konya ayebe pense Bible ni Brashadra otimi nka emawadwo
Yo, major so number chon to say.
Ya me ho ye now say.
Eradado me ho papa. Obusu afonso ho ye there.
Yeah, obi aho ye. Last week no. Ye kwan chapter 1 no kakra. And if you can give a capsule, a summary form of chapter 1, maybe I'll free anyone. So the baby boy I best set up the stage for a discussion.
That's it. My minya sa kwenye ina menya ide memfa enna yenu mo mohwe Chariot TV asiye pa na yenkoso emo wana baso se brana no mutumi ejebre na omo ehwe dwumadi yi enokra ewo mu ene se kakra ena yedi esua Bible enye gidigidi enti no ohe Daniel enwoma na yesua na yato ebo ase papa ena yehwe na Joe ansana mekoso kra no ma memfa a big happy birthday Emma Oyere gift abi say when who say etwagu o baby bebre etiro ya na wama Oyere happy birthday ede amae we are proud of what you are doing. Say we showcase ni ye papa into the wire there. Yeah, si council enka ho. What I say? Catch our Oyere say almost sikano. Ma o mesikano emu no.
Ono man miskano, ono sending miskano.
There be o mesikano emu oba no so. Ma no so no so. What I say? Into no yeah. The information they don't know self akomano. It's yeah man happy birthday. Yes, already ensure be brave at the end for all the supporter or the mount in your ministry. So the book of Daniel, a very interesting book. Now, just as you started, you can't want someone trying to give the background of the book. Now, last week, went to Myanmar. You started with chapter 1. Now, in chapter 1, what we are looking at, Daniel, or Nini Yakofa won about Babylon. Now, we do Babylon. And a name beer, Nebuchadnezzar, or name a man for woman. Ye far addition kakra edi freminti yankwetri bebre from the the chapter 1 no. Now Joe, they tell me say Nebuchadnezzar is a wise king. Now Daniel any nuanum free Jerusalem Edomba Babylon no. Obedu ya no try so obey integrating them into the Babylonian system. Now, what I mean by integrating them, and I say, Ofa Kwan Biswa, Obama, Daniel, any Nianono, Omonia a year Nebuchadnezzar Himianum. Now, strategically, on him say, I have for we are say, all kind of ideas are one day a ruling. It took a far collect before him fear. Bones ya shada man training beer. Joe ebe boa kwala no na ma to me abeye ohene anasa abeboa ahenie no daache. It's when he brought these young men now, it is believed that these young men were brought from the king's house. In fact, so kind Daniel chapter a year 1 on Joe. Now I heard the verse 2, verse 3 and 4 now. So we talk in Kankakrama me commend beji pa.
Daniel chapter 1. Verse number 2, 3 and 4 no. Mamimbi I think we're joining here. We are live on Facebook, we are live on YouTube, and we are live on X. So drop a comment in the comment section because it's a live show. The kind of comment and so at the amount. Now, my main kind some few comments and some of my Bible passage, you know. Isaac Major say, I'm so interested in this book of Daniel. And I Kwame watching so say, good evening, brethren. And by chapter 1, verse number 2, Ebano. Or say, and the Lord gave Joachim, the king of Judah, into his hands, and some of the articles of the house of God, which he carried into the land of Shinar, to the house of his God, and brought the articles into the treasure house of his God. Then the king instructed Ashpenaz, the master of the eunuch, to bring some of the children of Israel and some of the king's descendants and some of the nobles, young men in whom there was no blemish, but good-looking, gifted in all wisdom, possessing knowledge and quick to understand, who has ability to serve in the king's palace, and in whom they might teach the language and the literature of Chaldeans.
And the Haram Pesa Osha Nema Binson. Ohene ema ekofa amrante a na omo ye ohene eye Joachim na asefo na jo de wenti na sa so me hu hia nti eto ebo ase echechire mu last week ni say na Onyankopon ahye nkomo ato ho dada because sa de we bam obra Micaiah yare ya onyame sa na ade na ohene na oteso ewo Babylon osuma and nkrofo so momra Jerusalem no mesra Ezekiah no say in 2 Kings chapter 20 no Ezekiah eden nkrofo ekorura na himfie ko kyerɛkyerɛ omo ni sika ne nema wo ɛno na Bible say oyo osente onyame kan say obema ohene bi Babylon hene na wakɔ kyerɛ mo sa ne men abefa ono no nkrofo na asefo do mo akonkwaso mu na ne ma nana no ebekɔ kɔbrɛ. And that is what we see here. Now interestingly Nebuchadnezzar eden kwa no bae no and I started say or 10 or 1 dwene every Jerusalem ed omo aba Babylon etino omo kasa osesa afi aduane mpo omudi or try so obesesa or try say wobe ekire omo the literature and the knowledge of the Babylonian kingdom. Other say afi or try say obesesa omudin. In fact, osesa omudin yanka so obo try kra. Osesa omudin. Na Joe baby am pese emphasize and then no chapter 1 no mu no how Mranti ye come asemi Daniel and Ninuanam no they were somewhere around the teenagers age between 15 to 19 years.
Yes.
Okay. And 15 to 19 years, you know, these young men insisted say omuni ohene no enuane no. But though they did not insist just in the word of insisting, but they were courteous and respectful. What must I say?
Yeah, verse number say.
Verse 8.
I'll ask you as your queen, but I mean, kind of be a person, the kind of
verse 8.
Verse 8. Or say, but Daniel purposed in his heart that he will not defile himself with the portion of the king's delicacy, nor with the wine which he drank. And therefore he requested the chief of the eunuch that he might not defile himself. Now God had brought Daniel into the favor and goodwill of the chief of eunuch, and the chief of said
in Leviticus chapter 11, no, but Leviticus 11 no gives us a list of food that and say June and Israel new these list of food no. And now Daniel say they realize say omo aduane na ohene delicacies no aduane e wo ho no eye sa na ema na Onyankopon aka chom so mo yeden omo ndi no enti no instead say omo be defile omo self they pleaded with the man in charge, and that's something I think we need to take a lesson from. Even though Daniel episode pleasing ni Nyankopon no wankwa wo kan kire Ariel ko ye ɔhene no chairman sɛ masa for the on the phone free honum yeah the nisa and abasa no and he didn't do that. He was very, very courteous, very diplomatic, very respectful. Daniel called him and no country the same.
Verse number, and this is the chief of the eunuch said to Daniel. Now, okay, the chief of the eunuch said to Daniel, I fear my lord the king, who has appointed your food and drink. For why should he see your face looking worse than the young men who are
Oreo Casema or Kenyan answer, Nana. Daniel, that be mean to me and Mamo Ebiano Fro. It's answer, said, made the most of making in a name. No, who's a more from one. I don't know about me. Ain't it mean to me a day? And yes, sir, a Jumano. And till Miss Ramoa, a Diana de Muni, Anna Daniel, a pleaded with them. With him, say, what dear, yes, sir, Yadane.
First,
her, my sir, is soon vegetables, no. Nay, new now, Joe, and no interest, my dear Bianibiaka, vitamins to vegetables in your outfit. We know,
I okay.
Who say that? As a man to
Aye.
It's a vegetables per se na Daniel and Daniel her say only bibia a bit defile when you pass.
Yeah,
no best saying.
Yeah, I did about my dream. Abra can tell me, and they say, you see, this Manti, roughly 15 to 19 years, we are so committed to God. They say they are even concerned about a matter as low in our context as food.
Yeah.
See, when you say that is not it. See, the thing that people brand as sinful and as the most sins. See, anybody into see, they were concerned about matters of delicacy, matters of food. Which in our context, in our world now, I mean, saying person we will trivialize I mean, we will trivialize it and take it up. But the point is that these young boys, 15 to 19 years, so committed, it just cuts back to
yes.
Have we really taught them?
Because as our age group we are working, we're talking about JHS and senior high school students.
Yes.
Old mass JHS and senior high school. Question is how many of our children they work JHS and senior high school are? Joe, they are so bound in the teachings of the Lord. Said that omubetimi ejina wo musukumu and I be say yemfa yehu rewura niema emfata emu.
Yeah.
Though these are critical things that come once some it's Daniel any said we wouldn't do that. In fact, Osra said what the pardon Pastor for 10 days.
Yeah, it's in verse number 14. So he consented with them and in this matter and tested them 10 days.
Good. Verse 11 is saying.
Verse 11 also say, so Daniel said to the steward, whom the chief of the eunuch has set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, please test your servant for 10 days and let them give us vegetables to eat and water to drink. Then let our appearance be examined before you, and the appearance of the young men who eat the portions of the king's delicacy. And you see,
we have a lot of young people. Joe started and Sano. Yeah. there's something I always want to thank my mom. I'm saying so tonight, Mother's Day. Now, Joe, there's something. If my mom was to be alive, there's something I always thank God for her. And I say, Yesusano. Na ye kurase. Ye wo emepa ho abe palm trees.
Yeah.
Now palm trees, you know, woman de mark contract no more about 20 in egu form. No more chanabe. No more chabe and some fufu no. It be at the pa, especially ye can for na your friend in Tunkum. At the pa. It is Susan. Oh, na ye no bia na penifo no mutwitwa mmeno omkonom kote a na omo separate we the head on fancy a nti yan kwala na yebekọ na ekutakuta e cap na ehwehwe amai. My mom did something in this period ebesi na metoa atimi amenwanwa pa. My mom said say even though ensafufo enye ensa na odin ne say, you know, she will not allow us to drink them. And you know, Samuel, sometimes you can't cross here. Yeah, cross in a song. There was so many rooms about Netidaya. Nipa be breed the two bian in the ma. Remember, I mean, Kwan said, and at that time, we were talking about someone who was not a member of the church. No, my church. Also, my name say and Sanvi and Savufui. I'm here, Numbi. Joe, Ubeje say her reason was said. What started now, man, Colano nom Safufu the next time Obuhuno. Na and one son or more tank. Almost our distillation, you know, only and once a baby name Abia said, is here. Sa petition is our name, man. Ain't you know, Omon the Safufu, Omukrina, or a year, your friend is saying, my friend is saying, a fermentia.
A fermentia, okay.
A fermentia no media, omo hiti, omo noa. Omo noa sa gas na too free muno. Na ewura pipe no mu. Na pipe no so media too nso mu. Na nam so na fe adane liquid. Na egu bottle mu, which is the appetizer. You really the good jemu a eso say yiro. Me ma me say nsafufo na ye mem ne ferment na den ye de be no appetizer no. O ma ye numbi. Etina fe ye ho abe ye hi wo ho. Ba je obeje di say almost enkwala na no mutifio ye no muti nyina me cousins no and no mu nyina da ne nsadwanfo.
Oh.
Omu nyina da ne nsadwan. Now I like it strike my mind say, so what did my mom see at that time? A man not dream mu that ebe say no. Me ma me may no sa impo entunkumi. Ebe sin ne. Me hu Yakoba ebe na me hu even Christian brothers. No mo jije we the sense of fufu, na ma wusumiti.
We with the Sandys.
Aha. Almost no smell of any sa and no and some will say it's just 10%.
Or just 3%.
Just 5%. That be you. Christo ni adia enyano. Ensa enya enye. Oh, akotana just what to Africana. Akotana bruchiri say you know. Ensa no na normal. Abruchiri da wo ha. It will tell num kakrebia red wine na onu ma enye bone. Over. There be you. There be 81 do some pempensona e bone na wura mu no. E bone na wura mu Joe. Eti antwi ndipa adwem na so say these young people at the tender age have a strong conviction say omun defile omusa. How much more who papa engineer o ti church no bra panya ti church no I just said no yen sim konwa mfra on ntu for say jansanom of ade on my face na church no ti church no no okoba as if say bibia ye okay ofa what in tunkum what in nsafufo na afi one move on say smell of I say no so yes ice there be smell of was it
your ice no. Uh-huh.
Into omuji I we dey say te sense fufu na obo alpha wa opa unsa na anom keke
Because e bo akoma.
Ebo de akoma Joe say red wine no ebo akoma de and I don't nkoto you can't say grapes na omde ye na won sha say nwemo
Even class say wakoma nti e be boa nti na opo no ma and na call for to mom prescribe odru a e be
bo
akoma now no
Joe the truth is that Bible says saying or say 10 days is so you know what they almost buy and what did he see
verse number 15 will say at the end of the 10 days their features appeared better and fatter in flesh than all the young men who ate the portion of the king's delicacy. Thus the steward took away their portion of delicacy and the wine that they were to drink and gave them vegetables. For as for these 4 young men, God gave them knowledge and skills in all literature and wisdom. And Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams.
Bible say all these young men, 4 young men, God gave them some things. God gave them what? Number 1, knowledge. Number 2,
skill
in all literature.
And wisdom.
Wisdom. They applied it in their lives. I said the knowledge now you made it do they applied it. No movie say God after so more knowledge in way no. You had it or Sadaka or they can't Daniel their home.
Because Daniel had an understanding in all visions and dreams.
In these studies, or the preamble of what is going to happen in the book. It's say for Daniel, understanding of dreams and visions. Book Nema would be a on test Shadrach and Meshach and Abednego, dreamers. But they had wisdom in all that they were doing. But Daniel was a dreamer himself, and he was an interpreter. And that is what the Bible is going to tell us. Daniel, even to the time of King Cyrus. It is just in chapter 1 we get the idea say Daniel is going to be in this kingdom and the kingdoms to come. So that is what we see in that the embassy is close with chapter 1, the verse 20. Now saying that verse 20 in a kind or say, and in all matters of wisdom and understanding about which the king examined them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and astrologers who were in all his reign. It's the Bible as say Daniel there. Said that when Nebuchadnezzar tested them, I have no idea what Nebuchadnezzar tested, but the idea Ephraim said Nebuchadnezzar did not just call these guys to come and say. He tested them and realized that they were 10 times better. Joe, let me tell you something interesting. I also churches anymore. Churches anymore, you're going to find a lot of young people complaining. In fact, I'm going to complain the Church of Christ
yes.
And elders no me anya hwe and leaders no omo me anya hwe and yen cry who they were church this because and master it is time for you to shut up and become a knowledgeable person, a wise person, so that you can be used for ministry. Now and be am case ask me your friend young youth to see how opa in your baby church or charity we manager or charity Mon conducted this survey for me. Go to all these churches and ask the youth, say, what are your programs? You see the program for the year more draw. And you go and check. Our program for the year. We'll go for a video, a film night. Or that we'll go for excursion. We'll go for a beach. We'll go for holiday there, you better cook out. You better wait. Now, no, at the age over an uncle, you move from UT, will be at the 45 or Timo. Will be at the 43 or Tim, will be at the 38 or Tim, will be at the 30 or Tim. And these people are in the churches. And on the program, we call Droba a film show. And then your friends saying, Miss Church of Christ. And Mr. Church of Christ. Now, Joe, yes, I know the country preachers and elders in the church say, Omunyai pulpit and on there, Bible teachings and near Famau. I want you to think about it. These people purpose in their heart that we will not defile ourselves. And when the king tested them, Bible says they were found 10 times wiser. I have a question for you, Joe. Question is, if you fire young people or church in this area, I want from youth. Here the 2 years before, are we going to see them 10 times better than Omo movie?
No, we look alike now. We look alike. Sometimes we are more serious about religion than.
Yo, and mommy feeling very, 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 very frustrated and sad sometimes when I think about the future of the church. Now, young preachers and quite the it's an uncle for ya coba, a greater Accra youth, there were just a grossam no moody, a bronco, Thank for that actually be your elders or churches in the moon. Thank for no business committee. So think about it. You agent for Otiwano Onimche, Unsiake, Okokan, and no, yeah. Utu Atamawa church in the moon. Yo, Yambamra or my Ghana. 80 we are sure Ghana Pie, we are going to have a president. Sabi, na dream daho, na obua de, na odwen omana. What are young people are more enter into politics?
Yeah, they have been young people. I remember.
Perhaps they defend errors.
Yes, and I remember.
Why? What have we done? Like then so our nation, our societies, our churches are full of young people who have no conviction, who have no conversion, and kasa or no answer on such a and not the church anymore. And not tell my anymore. Oh, much and I'm a Obesia man no abubbo na sumu na say de aha obitime bo na ne hunu mu no de ayi your friend saying
yes no person what earring I dey find the earring no amount nose ring
they say enya nose ring na Joe the esre wasem no mu say opa akokan history of trade a slave trade any animals rarely oba be who say yeah the I asked my DNA animal to identify the owner. Almost or the owner to be able to identify an abua. Slaves, so the same thing. I near you. Mr. McCann once the last time. No, almost here the abu ball moving.
I watch it so much the other day. And
more soon. And then Utia young people, especially Americans. These people control our forefathers and them and trans the opposite. And then I also forefathers here, yo, that's exactly what you are doing to yourselves. It's Daniel book, gives us a clear picture. Say, yo, so be a wiser. it can be seen even at a tender age. Now,
What?
Sabio, and I'm say, ye kukrum pony.
Never.
What I say, young people are more about church in the mo. Young people are away my mo. They say, they are on social media, they are on my own street. Just look at them. Look, show me. Mayo, and she said, "Obviously, a kasa me as a toys, as a toys."
Well, so
That's what I said.
Valencia,
We have a problem, and that is what chapter 1 projects.
yes.
Was these young men were convicted, they were convinced about their faith, they respected God, and the end result, and they said, God provided for them a life of wisdom, knowledge, and that was displayed in everything that they did. And the book of Nathan said they were 10 times better than the others.
Yeah, there's something I will talk about before we go to chapter 2.
Okay.
Chapter 1. But the other canon, it's we all should be has to will bear that say things are not well, particularly with the world that we are going in. Things that years ago back then we've seen as something bad and terrible. Now it's encouraged and pushed up, and so local social media on Facebook, on YouTube, and things. All that you are thinking about. Let's take for instance a man who YouTube, who Facebook, who Instagram, who TikTok. All that you are thinking about is I say we are bad. You money more wachi and a day here so all the people they wear things and come and shake themselves on TV. So now you're recording. I mean, sometimes you look at these things, and these people who are doing some of these things, they are touted as the influencers and the celebrities and the stars of Ghana. And that is the same, the certain but the embassy come as briefly, near jump chapter 2. You see, so here, chapter 1, verse number 2. I want to read it. Now, you comment about something. And the Lord gave Joachim, the king of Judah, into his hand. You see, chapter verse 1, verse 1, they say, the book of Nebuchadnezzar beseech Jerusalem. But Daniel is telling us that it's not the Nebuchadnezzar who took over. It was God who allowed it. A clear indication and a hint of the idea said God is in charge of affairs.
Yes, can say something last week. Chapter 20. Those who couldn't join us last week, chapter 20 of 2 Kings. Now, Joe, the same 2 Kings chapter 20, Isaiah chapter 39. Okay. Now the answer said, okay. Previously, during our introduction, you can say about Rabshakeh.
Yeah, Rabshakeh.
Oba, chapter 18 of 2 Kings. And chapter 19, Rabshakeh and the boss, Sennacherib. Eba, a horse or move attacking Jerusalem. And when you go catch it, Isaiah said, Ongo country, Hezekiah said, the people will never step a foot in Jerusalem, not even Good. So why is it that it comes to your friend is saying Joachim there? The Bible says God handed him over to them.
Yeah.
Joe, the difference is that when you go upon a ball na untia, Obechra say, if you ask him, and you there. If you ask him, a foot to the man, telling my bow, I have say, men and none be asked when you are doing say, Joe, there's someone who rules in the affairs of men. Now, Hezekiah Bonia, or so could be any down to her, my whole bell as a result of pride. So, person bonnie or or person children propose or no, and why achieve we. These things were not achieved by you. And men I may achieve with those things, and I'm the one to say on him. Because of what you have done, they are own David. There won Nana Solomon. And Crawford apple gu honey no. Gold in the silver no. Memang Crawford about the Falco. Joe, and only who chapter 1 of the book of Daniel no. And Nebuchadnezzar and then Crawford by ya. Or mother man name and so normally call. So yes, chapter 1 no verse 1 and 2 no actually and say God is in charge. God rules in the affairs of men. And chapter 19 and chapter 1 verse 19 and 21 and the church and God rules. The people, these young men say we will not defile ourselves in the food of the kings, in the drinks now the manner, but we will eat. I didn't know so defile because they want to honor the God of heaven. And when they did not defile themselves, what happened? They were looking fresher than
Better,
those who were eating.
than the people.
I'm looking nice. And I know that chance to Nyansa, you almost say, Trump. They are ready to me, you know. Bible can't send me or say, Yamishra and a many pie day or the four or bread you my dear on Fabi and Kahun. Joe, now say, oh, you are being so wiser than God. Unyambemo who say, oh, Unimshe, Unyobiaso. And that's what we see in chapter 1.
That's the record chapter 2 and Chibia. Now make I have 4 I say we are live on Facebook, we are live on YouTube, we are live on X. A live show, drop a comment in the comment section. Now my kind Mama Emilia was a good evening, brethren, watching live from Maryland by Richard and so at the other room. God bless you. Patrick K. Abbey at the about watching you live. Jesus Patrick O'Shea from Kumasi. Patrick K. because in Tunkum is a rehearsal for the main dish. Apetishi, Mati. And a tram, a champion, so say God bless you, brothers. And Douglas Usu Boateng to say at the age of 12, I almost became a professional appetition distiller. Hey, my dad, my uncle, my grandfather were all distillers. Though drinking spirits wasn't prohibited by my dad. I decided at day 1 at age 13 not to taste alcohol in my life after a heavy intoxication. And I've kept this up to today. Okay. I observe the pains how some churches are liberal in the consumption of alcohol. Uber Morty so right live from Canada. Uber Michel last name so Oja Kunya Oya Dumano Michel, keep it up. Unia Steven Awuni from England. I'm watching his live from England. Say Oshe, you can just go on YouTube or Facebook and search Samfest TV. I think you can see him there as well. Isaac Major and so live from Isaac Major Suchiko YouTube and Eric Agabus Mudifo Agabus and so live from Germany. Great job, keep it up. And Richard Boampong from Dansomai. Good evening, brethren. We are live on Facebook, we are live on X. Drop a comment in the comment section. And unsubscribe to the charity, but when you subscribe to the charity, just click on the subscription button. Say, oh, YouTubers, just subscribe, click subscription button, hit notification bell. You call live, you get a notification. We go Facebook, we say charity TV, and so and tell me remember. Just like the page, share, and you can comment on it. It's you call live, they hit your notification, and you're live on X and so Twitter comment in the end time, but because Omo here Twitter Nisha. Let's go to chapter 2 of Daniel 2. In fact, Daniel 2 among the churches of Christ, might be the most popular. Though we know of Daniel's story, Daniel in the lion's den, there from our infancy, but Daniel 2 has to be one of the popular passages or chapters in the entire book of Daniel because of the church. But what in a summary form, what is in chapter 2?
In a summary, in chapter 2, what we're going to see, Nebuchadnezzar wakoda no aso die. And that's sorry no se die na waso ye no. Ni refi onkai. Enti no ne enyansafo a omo Babylon kingdom ni mu no omu nyina mehia mo ano no nte dan na se na jo sa nyansafo kai say Daniel ya testi wo mo awie hu say omu ye good enti e do mo abeka nyansafo no ho enti Daniel in chapter 1 am ye hu say they were tested and they were added to the king's wise men. It's that wise men na Nebuchadnezzar from say for my son die na die no refi. In fact, me who so die no munti no. Mo mo de na mon kai die no. Mon kai me die na me koda so ye no. Na afi mun kire mase. That is what we are going to see. And propose nana asama obu say the adabraka. Na wo koda so die ye de na ye be wura utirima hu die a wo so ye. Na ya kire wo. Ena ohene sisa just a more no my one just say more dada me. Why one answer for bibia me kan na mo it mo de mo adwen the father me kan ho na mo kire ma say okay say one kan da na nkire me na mo ansa nkire ma say a ene mu nyina ye bekum and mu nyina na ye kan no I want to emphasize say Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego kan internet ko ba say Daniel te asem no Daniel enu nuanum hia na omo bompa yesre onyankopon so obebie wonani ite onyankopon bie wonani ena oka okire Daniel dae no ena ode nkrase so eka ho na Daniel enso be kire dae no mu o kire ase na enu achi no oka de onyankopon pese oye it is right from Daniel chapter 2 no God portrayed to us in the book of Daniel say owo bibia e woni mu opese oye eti adekono nyame pese oye no odi kan de niema bi atoto kwan mu ansa na eduru ho a na oye a enipa hu se ampa onu nyankopon na eyiwi aje odi ba de na nyame pese oye obesi na hini kingdom ntina o kan say Daniel chapter 2 no it is well known in the church. Why? Because Daniel ever trust in come across you know obey no no can't say onyankopon your family to prove to us say onyankopon on the hini o man nyina na oyeye no obesi ahini a ene asori no Daniel come share e fa asori no ho baako yebehu wo chapter 2 that is what we're going to see in chapter 2.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Say, a vision and a dream like this, was not shown to a Jewish king like Hezekiah, like Uzziah, like Daniel, David, like Solomon. A vision. See, I did a fa Nyankopon trimupo a ebe unveil several years to bring Nyankopon ne nhyehyɛ a wo wiase say na safo beba ne asafo no mu nipa nam benya nkwane de that vision was not even given to a Jewish king or a Jewish monarch, but it was delivered to a pagan king like Nebuchadnezzar. What do you have to say about that?
Yo, the truth of the matter is say onyankopon plan mu no he has never relegated the Gentiles.
Yeah, Kakra, I just want you to repeat that same statement, that same something.
Say, he has never relegated the Gentiles in his plans. I say, plans I say, ye Gentiles he never did that.
Yeah, and I'm coming. We have not read the book, but can see in most of our Bible classes, and I'm saying this because I've been there, I've sat there. About this. My name was Tony Kakra. Me penema was so as a me had me. Me Ezekiel one person ka ebia Ezekiel one person can be rashiki. But back on our statement, you see, sir, back in our Bible classes, I mean, I've been sitting and waiting. Fine. We created the impression that after Moses showed up, the Gentiles so what did the say? After Moses showed up on the scene, Gentiles, when you are wisdom.
Yo, that's something I wanna say even me I'm no say I have always thought that way, but it seems that my more skew towards that say as a Nyankopon we are for to baby no concentrating on Jew for it's not true. Yo, and it's high time say preachers, church leaders, Bible teachers go back and read the Old Testament very well. Because when reading Old Testament yo, you come up with some of these plans.
Yes.
What I say? God has always been using the Gentiles and the Jews at the same time. What I say? The only thing Nyankopon so clear on the Jewish part and say, or making sure say he is going to maintain them so they bring forth the Christ. It's to make sure that Christ comes, he's going to do it. In fact, you are going to see that in the book of Habakkuk, where Habakkuk be complains that ebe Babylon for the other punish Jew for. Now, it doesn't make sense. Habakkuk say, Master, now and somehow cannot answer there. Men are making me answer, and I'm out me want my plans. Me person me use some more at the agent could be back. Baby, no. Whether some a Jew knew we a Gentile, the just shall live by faith. And to some yes, I do ya. I can kind of mark or maswa and quite be a new momunina. The father said, Habakkuk say, no, hey. And yet, even though the fig tree may not blossom, now, and even though an man said the penal, I will still rejoice. I will joy in the God of my salvation. We say, I'm quite gentle on your mayor side no more. In Genesis chapter 11, Onyankopon scatter not na of Fred Abraham said, Umu verse chapter 12, verse 1 to 3. Umu na meshire wiase musuako nyina. It seems that the rest of Genesis was still towards the children of Israel. But Joe, it does not also mean that God neglected the rest of the world. Because Joe, Ubako Wenim Akoto, Abraham, Obe meeting Melchizedek. And the Bible says Melchizedek was a priest of who? The Most High. Others say the priest of the Most High, only priest of Abosom. Melchizedek, even though he was a Gentile, he was what? A priest. What my Joe? Yabakoyanim abe reading about Jethro, Moses Asel.
Yes.
Or yet the priest of God. What must say? And ma anypa dwen almost say, Nyankopon for Abraham wie no. Na free Moses so ban enipa anso Nyankopon do. The kwan na omo pese Nyankopon pese nipa fa so som no. And an they didn't have that covenant relationship with God. But God did not neglect them totally. Because the Nyankopon neglected we as a phone totally. And I didn't know so much Jonah so uncle Nineveh.
That is the point I remember. Say maybe can was see. The people they didn't ask Nyankopon bear. Master for some call. They didn't question that. Nyankopon bear for some call.
Yes, sir.
Jonah went there, and Jonah went in a Gentile pagan world.
Yes.
People who are completely, they are not Israelites, but they knew God. Say Nyankopon say Nyankopon they knew. They became obedient, humbled themselves, repented.
Exactly.
The book of Amos, about three chapters of the book of Amos is dealing with Gentile world, trying to talk to them that Nyakopon ebe destroy them. Just to prepare their mind. And then make essentially we have taught wrongly for years.
I think it is time for a lot of people to really read before they make conclusions.
Yeah.
Joe, I thank God for going to school again. Any man say, don't just take a preacher's words for it.
Yeah.
Read it, and when you read it well, and you take your time to analyze it, you understand it. Sano Nyankopon ye na se. Enti no, ye me nipa nyina mo hwe charity we beti asese. Sa asem na ye kan say na Onyankopon to wiasefo nyina gui. And now did a Israel for Kwan or then a Mram, it's true. But yo, Emrano de my Israel for no. The worship part of Embrano was the one and not only Gentiles and Kwan on bit my animal. Only friends Jews Kwan bit my animal. But it does not mean say Onyankopon expect to say we are Mama Muniakophobia. What was it? Onyankopon is not expecting a mama muni say, oh, ukoria there and yashi. No, in fact, over the book of Daniel, Romans chapter 1, the country say, even though they knew God, until the man here born name say they knew God, they did not glorify him as God. As I say, and Romans say, God shown them all the things that they were supposed to know, that they were supposed to live their life. That the way that they were supposed to, the conscience that they were supposed to have. Saying that they had no excuse. They had no excuse. And Joe, yes, the Gentile world, and it's so interesting, say, Joe will not accept the book of Daniel for a long time as a prophetic book. In fact, so the analysis are with books now. No more the Torah,
yeah,
the Torah and the first 5 books of Moses. No more the friend of Ketuvim, the history books, and a Yomne, I mean, some woman, and they what the Navim, the prophet books. Job say they did not add Daniel to the prophet books.
Yeah.
Because they did not classify Daniel as a prophet. In natural sense, Daniel cannot be classified as a prophetic book. The reason being that Daniel was not prophesying to the people of God. Mostly. What must I say? About 98% of Daniel prophecies was toward Gentile kings. Daniel was, in actual sense, a statesman, or I have to say, Ubia or your penny, or minimum, and Onyankopon use no. They didn't see the need to put Daniel as part of the prophetic books. But though that does not take away the prophecies that we see in the book of Daniel. Whether somebody accepted Daniel as a prophet or not, it doesn't take away the wonderful book that God gives to us in the middle of the Bible, the book of
Daniel. Chapter 2, but mankind your force over you're live on Facebook, you're live on YouTube, and we are live on X. Or drop a comment in the comment section. Or drop a question in the question or comment section. And I will do diligence by reading it, and say a question, I will answer it duly. Now, someone subscribe to Charity TV, or more subscribe to Charity TV. Now, on probably amount, you be but chapter 2, I mean, kind some few sections, then I mean, kind of baby, then we discuss about it, then we pick it up from there. I say, now in the second year of Nebuchadnezzar's reign, Nebuchadnezzar had dreams, and his spirit was so troubled that his sleep left him. Then the king gave the command to call the magicians, the astrologers, the sorcerers, and the Chaldeans to tell the king his dream. So they came and stood before the king. The king said to them, I've had a dream, and my spirit is anxious to know the dream. Then the Chaldean spoke to the king in Aramaic. O king, live forever. Tell your servant your dream, and we will give you the interpretation. The king answered and said to the Chaldeans, my decision is firm. If you do not make known the dream to me and its interpretation, you shall be cut into pieces, and your house shall be made an ash heap. However, if you tell the dream and its interpretation, you receive from me the gifts, reward, and great honor. Therefore, tell me the dream and its interpretation. Quite an interesting setting. And Nebuchadnezzar set it up for these magicians and sorcerers. Comment on it, Ebia, not
Yeah, Joe, first comment, the verse 1. Now, in the second year of King
Nebuchadnezzar.
Why is Daniel recording as a second year? What must I say? Because, like we said it from the beginning, no, first year, no, it is seen as a year of succession or ascension. Year so it's not counted. What must I say? So after that year, no, the next year becomes your first year.
So it's roughly like time one the book at this far Daniel and Crawford by was his year of ascension. Roughly
his year of ascension. Exactly.
So 2 years later, close to 2 years later, then the book at is having the dream.
Exactly. It's in the time one Okofor by year o training no. Ne omukodi yebedi aduane ye ni aduane no is seen as ne first year, but it's actually the second year on the throne. What I say?
No,
I say the first year no and okokon e kofa by, right?
The ascension.
And no yen classify as in the first year, classify as ascension year. It's kind of free zero. That is the 0 year. What must say? After that, we'll move on to the first year, which the first year included the time one. Walk of Daniel, ne Shadrach, Meshach, no a training all these days, months, you train you to be able to serve. No, they are 7, right? And the third year, which is now the second year. Because the third year, no kind of verse, a year 1, 2, 3, and I'll find the third year. But year 1 no is seen as year 0, the ascension. Year 2 is seen as year 1, and year 3 is seen as year 2. What must say? He is now in his second year because the very first year is counted as 0. And you know, Daniel, can't say. Yeah, we know Nebuchadnezzar had a dream, and I'll say he was troubled. I didn't know troubled. He was troubled because the dream, was something terrifying. What I said, as at now, you name dream, so I wouldn't want to jump the gun.
Yeah. Yes.
What must I say? Because what is ahead of us. But I'm trying to say, if we are reading this book for the first time, we don't need to jump to say okay, we're waiting and we're terrified. But as of now, Nebuchadnezzar has seen something and he's terrified about it. But doesn't tell us why Nebuchadnezzar could not remember the dream.
Yes. So I chapter 1, verse 1 here. Was it Nebuchadnezzar had dreams in plural?
Yes. Yeah.
So I don't know whether it's
yes. It dream. No. Daniel can dream now. Obama a part of the dream. It's a dream, no, and yet just one flash. It ultimately say wada was sorry wada and was soon die who near washing in the niate. I've also got to na dream na sa to aso. And it happens,
it might be also that it can also be there. Maybe also there, or why na sada economy asaba ne subio.
Of course, and also by another interpretation of it.
Sada
He's
it
having
might
a series of dreams that are the same thing.
To prompt him
Yes.
that what's the meaning? No,
And
because
also,
maybe
and also another.
well,
Yes,
yeah,
and also another thing.
what is happening in the dream? No, it could have mean that you dream the dream. It might be even worse, nightmare. But what sort of what is it?
Mama statistics, yeah, maybe you may be aware of it or not. Do you know, say, an average person, yeah. has 2 or 3 dreams every night.
2 or 3 dreams.
Yes.
Can we film?
Yo, the issue is say you might not remember.
Yeah.
It won't say as you go on your daily chores, you know, something will come in your mind. You feel like as I do it, as I see that, it's as a result of the dream you had. A lot of people dream that they don't remember. What I say, Ubu also or dreamer like or confused on who what and on answer one way I can say on conquer about so and then there be an average person dreams twice or 3 times in a day. You know, there are a lot of statistics you can search it and you get to see say dreams, you know, the idea yes so die different. I thought I was so die and now be aduane bi na obedi thought I was so die now fruit dua bi thought I was so die na die ebe ehu a eno na ema wadwen ba so no what do I say de ehu no ena wadwen ba so no enti ubon so obi wa wada ho no otafre na no so obi a wada de na oyi they are all part of what we're saying. It's in Nebuchadnezzar have been having a dream. The dream itself, when Daniel start talking about the dreamer, you're about talking about one part. Or say, Nana Oshaya who said, we see ye. Oh, Oshaya who said, we see ye. So the point is that the Nebuchadnezzar having dreams, so it could be one night with series of dreams, or it could be say was diachronoa for months and for weeks. After the usro or 1 and who also. That is what Daniel is telling us in the first verse. You know. The second verse, you know, Kachre said he is going to give a command. Command, and he said, and look at Job. The words, the descriptions of the man. You know. Number 1, or say why?
They called the magician.
Number 2, astrologers. Number 3, why?
Sorceress.
Joe, my engineer never put to a crama in Yanoma, almost so dia. Na anchrophobia better radio so no more kabia was be also was be say, make sure I say, Joe, they are magicians. Even though they may call themselves prophets and men of God and spiritual men, no, Joe, me a before Bible describe himself me a before. You know what I'm kind, Mr. Now, how can come on?
Yeah, oh, it's
Pacino kind. Pacino, maybe me phone so. I can't get through. I say, Daniel.
Ubi and I'm for say. You're live on Facebook, you're live on YouTube, you're live on X. Or drop a comment in the comment section. My main kind of comment about in. Eja Andrews, Kweku Amponsasi, God bless you, brethren. Thanks so much for your explanation. Or the about drop in the comment section. Verse 2, come on, Minty.
And now, Henry can say, one cofre and konya yifo in konya yifo, mom yin konya. That is the magician.
The magicians, yeah.
Yeah. Any pe adi hunu for.
Padi hunu for omom hwehwe wiem na omohwe star bia. O star we
Ena entafo yifo.
Suse sorceress.
Abefo no.
Abefo okabreche ne sankofo no.
Yes.
Okanema bo ne mam na
okeka ne ma wadwen nya o se. Memo adwen nya o se obi otimetra radio so no de o kire da ya ase o ye say no yo ono oye spiritual man. You see, Ghana I say obia otimi kasunsumu nsem bia no o enyame nipa. There be
no book do me ase yo. Evia na se me se me nyabre na e ba me ti o me kan ne me yi a kire. Book no mu no o pada ye bi o ka ade ohun we o daye mu a na se cheni. Ohun we o daye mu a na se cheni. Monday o kwa adwuma atade se na hye. See oh day we are. Oh, I even say and I say Monday atade se na hye. Atade color, we meant color. Say dia Monday we will be a Tuesday. Don't wear fight on Monday. Wear this and the book is filled with
books na and ajakraja mo kenkan na o megina kenkan sansem no. Books na and ajakraja. Na obi a wunim me ajakraja me minim no pa. What minimum ajakraja? Minimum ajakraja ansa no be so.
O question na o ya question so.
But enye sa kwesi ni tinam nim no mesrew. Ajakraja papa. Wunim ajakraja papa.
Yeah.
Kana for be wunim ajakraja papa. So what Abednego?
Yes. Otabo ni.
Abednego na asoro wo pankro no. Tafo pankro no Kumase.
Yes.
Abednego ne ba na ajakraja. Ajakraja ni din ankasa de sei.
Ene kwesi.
Abednego
Kwabna okay kwabna anya kwesi.
Ne papa de asiama odi for Abednego. Yo, so woni mu a midi Shadrach no baby free no.
Okay.
What I say, midi Shadrach baby free no. Me papa. Ne friend Sikasem. Now Abednego na sorry ba. Na sorry panyin ba ko. Na papa wiska. Nti na oben so for.
And the Kenyan say wasifi ho.
Man ka say wasifi ho misrawo.
Last week Shadrach na aka say Shadrach could dey different from Shadrach na one am say masa. Madam for no cre and I came purposely to diffuse that idea and no cre Shadrach krona no and then Shadrach na no chapter 1
Shadrach na watch chapter 1 no H Mimi the K that is now force the measure.
Hebrew na Greek kasa.
Masa enu hia me de na Asante Shadrach ni bia. Etro ajakraja ne papa ene Abednego no wo pankro no oda so yeah what say etro mo mani hurehuna mo who ni kutreyem but to
be serious on the matter, Ghanaians typically ya pesani man. Yeah. That's not radio so na TV so na o say o church da yim. Also Diana ntinta oni so you say and you when I listen to the program like that won kofo a efre also for me so Diana me didi na se chene say also okay well I just say you dey baba arabo obi say so Diana me sometimes me tia me so these people so you or life is hinged on the ideas me so Diana
say that be am cancer asem say your mind mpono onyankopon design on mind and say it's a whole institution on its own. You say one way now you wadwin say what do wadwin be sisa na man so you have every reason to always believe in those things. It can say don't let people get us wrong. We are not saying say about food but we are saying say the means by which I am here and say that is how before pretty offer way minimum obia also phobia obi dada no aka kire say wote haban we ehye wo ho abefo ntimi mel na wo sofo okote haban say before mel wo say denti what was it yo ubetimi abeye so subsetting Meaning say or but so subjective to these things are one way or life will be controlled by some of them. No,
Yes.
I'm telling you, so there are a lot of people or telling them say, na curtain say bo, na peja, na can't walk, na peja, na can't walk, na fe na adwene say any mam ko so light am ready ekoso or so light and na tefrem yenu ba kwatwam kwa jo obesha ase adwa ton sisi a wo dem.
Yeah. Ba ku bi amina na me ne share wo. Ohwa na kwakwa de bi besi awia wo. Kwakwa de bi besi awia wo na oye kwa akwa. Asemaba. Asemaba. Kwakwa de ne wa fom kwan. Mami kwakwa de bi ne ya aboa kokuro. Like we have become so superstitious with these things also that
it's too much. It's too much.
Oh.
But Joe, we must also admit say enya Ghana phone kwana yes ade no.
Well, when the
Asian world, almost yes ade no. You see, the European world, they did all those things until they got to a time they realized that sebi I said kwasem the AAD. I say AAD is in we still have a lot of Ghanaians, even including preachers.
Yeah,
Joe, Oma Brabono is shaped and controlled by some of these things. I think Joe, the chapter chapter 2 of the book of Hebrews. Chapter 2 of the book of Hebrews, catch it, say there are people who, for all their lives, have been all prisoners.
Oh yeah,
of fear.
Prisoners of Satan because of the fear of death.
Exactly. Because of ehu. Na me kon me fa say na me poli me ba ma me fa back. Me ye say so if we have this God whom we serve, yes, obon somebody be there. Oh ya wonyum bia eto o se bibi bia ye bi de na nso
owo atumi aye bi de
owo tumi aye bi de na nso yen
Nenso Christo eyi ye
free ho.
Yes.
Monso ehru sejom ase. Monshe ehru sejom ase. Hallelujah.
God, hallelujah.
Yeah. So, you see, we live in a world that, yes, owo to me better may be there, abaifo be there, nema because there. But there's one thing. At the end of the day, victory is going to come through our God. You see, that is the assurance. Am I a movie? I say, transit. It's answer. They be try any so. They be boy a so chain. They be pie any so. They be my yari. They be my raho. They be my tini so. They be my yada form. They be my be done in here for. They be my yari a boy. They be my bushia a di yaw. They be my your businesses are saying. Yo, we have one assurance. Say, what to mean ye be dear we are a crystal. And that is what people need to understand. 80 Nebuchadnezzar Abubon and Crawford Ahodoa or Ewo ne mind mu. And I'll say the king said to them, I have had a dream, and my spirit is anxious to know the dream. Okay. Sasana Nebuchadnezzar can they not Diana unim ampa onkai. Me yem shisheme. Nanso, I want to know the dream. I want to understand it. It could also be said Nebuchadnezzar or Kaipa. But Nyankopa man a crying say on your day.
Yeah, I'm also kind of thinking that maybe okay, but he wanted really to test these astrologers, these magicians. Said really, they're not no. Are they really real? And then idea
no free idea no. Idea free say mean to me no. Man say don't tell them.
Don't tell them, but
what must say? Because at the end of the day, no, I said Nyankopon prove to all these people. And the question is, So Nebuchadnezzar soon him dream now. Then how scary is it going to be? And in my dream, God made him to forget the dream.
Okay.
Okay. And as Daniel starts narrating the dream, it's opening, it's unfolding in his mind.
Okay.
That is why Yebekwa could do baby. Daniel tried the enemy we are. Often Nebuchadnezzar but sorry the animal to form. Why would he do that? Because he got shocked. Yo, so why would he get shocked?
But so that's also possible. The idea maker said, take for instance, so Mekai Masudai. Let me bow in chain. Not really, I want to test your power. Say at the crowd, in the crowd. Let me say, well, Masudai, but I mean Kai, but Kadai chair, they come in chair session. The first thing, one man trust you, now to me Kadayana Chiremia.
You'll be surprised.
Yes, I have to be amazed. Say, to be able to narrate, and they are member song that actually said, this is what you saw, this is what you saw, this is what you see. So that's why I was pointing out that you see, it might be that it's not kind of God made that man forget it. Then Daniel catcher it is coming to his mind. Okay, when I'm a song there, it's because I didn't have also their own kind. But the moment you see process of it,
yes,
it
brings it unfolding.
Exactly. So that is there. And can also be that he intentionally wanted to, because of I don't know, he wanted to see the real interpretation. Say, and Kofona say, "Bia, in person me catch the omo na mape kwan bia because can be bitch the omo. Can Kofona be chire bia say."
Yo, that's it. Sa me be say kan, yen kan yen chire bibi mu. Na the person chire bia no bra fi, ma men kan kakran sa na mato. Yo, show. As software will be a similar, I'm a false prophet in those things. So these are some of the things they do. On conversation. My minimum some casa story natural about KUSC campus. Probably no more prophet auntie. About rumor. Now roommate no na padam for na or text no na fe OT stories about life and near the ain't wadampo or collectors and there be or coffee other ne mammy say Obaya obedra sorry they want no asham come and a minimum be ha nemo coffee ne mammy say ne mammy say ne mammy Joe Esan say Nebuchadnezzar say more astrologists animal cabaret for ne party for. That's what you want to do to me. In verse 4.
Verse 4, no say, then the Chaldean spoke to King in Aramaic. Oh, King, live forever. Tell your servant the dream, and I'll give you, and we will give the interpretation. And verse 5.
Now, what I can die in a tray.
I catch it. Your mount and chassis.
I'm pounds to you. And you'll be a printing who bookie.
Yes, so can
okay, Diana Masono. Men can't show. I've been myself, catch them, nature myself. A hundred baby.
Yeah, they say,
you see, even the Old Testament time, no, when you go stay, those who call themselves prophets, those who call themselves spiritual people, how much more our time?
Ghana, there is your encyclopedia of dreams now. The meaning,
now, Joe, if you live in a country where or president or vice president, your friend is saying former president or no, or vie for the presidency. In fact, the two presidential candidates work in Ghana, say, you know, and yeah, so for boys, you know, so bow to them. See, it tells you, say, yeah, oh man, yeah.
Now, Obi ba say we are winning power no. We winning power obi aba one team na ma win you. One minute be the koso.
I'm pounds also because all starting no corner ho. Say I'm starting campaign. Antes anano President Mahama eko you ho. Opambo ho. Yeah, no be ye o man mu ha. Opambo so wa ba ma han kwan de obe win me bo a. Man oh, auntie, and a cocoa news will come back for it. And your friend saying, a jabba will me also so call Aquana the same poa.
Wow. Hey, Ura.
Bray, yeah, or Uswampa. Honestly, on my say, Joe, that has been the norm. And it's sad, say, they don't even understand what is going on. And Joe, the point in it said, Nebuchadnezzar gives us a clear idea. Verse 5, Verse
5, the king answered and said to the Chaldeans, my decision is firm. If you do not make known to me the dream to me and its interpretation, you shall be cut into pieces, and your houses shall be made an ash.
Joe, for me to believe I saw for more predict or more winning election this year, Joe, I have one request. And I want to say on my program, so say, Ubia should take it. Maybe I'll pass it to be a fact to say, I'm challenging Sasso for ya, we be winning, say, Joe, the percentage of voter, Nipandi be winning. We are telling you, three requests. So I'm to make cancer seminar. Now say, Bemwa, Joe, I'll stop preaching. Yes, no, me percentage of votes, me the number of votes. Unipana de be number of votes.
You don't want the percentage and the number.
And I me the number of sport ballot beba.
Okay. Because
the percentage of votes or the the absolute vote amount of voter or the winning any ballot sport ballot me pay the absolute the amount or the or sport ballot 3 way pay na me pay.
Yeah, because that make me 200 say I was driving from Kumasi and Kumasi ahead in the car and in the car no now listening now back on the radio so also a prophet. And Ochi mu say on our predicted Ghana election in the ABC. And the person you and host now. I mean, hosting the we take common I realized that hosting ni hunipa. And I catch and say, I saw for we I say you be run off. No, so young run off. About we I say on quite I say MPPD say 16 years. Well, this 16 years at Wasu. And he went further trying to tell us percentage. We been a percent we. Now we have been. I was just listening to him, man. Hey, on my way.
Now we the answer. You see, they are. Excuse my language, and with all apologies to everybody, they are so damn say. Obi to me, say President we been 60%. Now we enya 40%. Now we enya more can be 5%.
Now, bro,
100%. The number 40 additional percentages amount for Beninia. You see, it's so funny. What must I say? On my yama, I quit his answer in Yango mathematics on Tiasia. Joe, I can't know about a chink of 5 being about to say. Nebuchadnezzar gives us a clear indication, Joe, from the book of Daniel said, you can test some of these things. Now, Tiasembi or catch on verse 15. Or say
verse 6. Momentos also verse 6. However,
verse 6. No, verse 5. No, I said the king answered and said to them, my decision is firm. I'm not changing that. If you do not make known the dream to me and its interpretation, you shall be cut into pieces, and your house be made a place of ashes. Verse 6 in this day.
Verse 6 says, however, if you tell me the dream and its interpretation, you shall receive from me gifts, reward, and great honor. Therefore, tell me the dream and its interpretation. And they answered again and said, let the king tell his servant the dream, and we will give you its interpretation. And the king answered and said, I know for certain that you gain time. Oh, Tom.
Joe, 80 Momo Pebre, we are just thinking more 80 verse 10.
The Chaldeans answered the king, and said, "There is not a man on earth who can tell the king's matter. Therefore, no king, lord, ruler has ever asked such things of any magician, astrologer, or Chaldeans. It is difficult thing that the king requests, and there is no one who can tell it to the king except the gods, whose dwelling is not with flesh."
Hallelujah.
Nyame na ɛbɛkyerɛ.
Ti asɛm no. Ti asɛm no ɔka no. Ɔsɛ, deɛ ɔhene busa yi, obie ntumi nyɛ saa deɛ no da.
Yeah.
Agye enyame a ɔmo tenabea ɛni asase.
Ɛnyɛ nipa deɛ mu. Ɛmo nte honam mu.
Maybe enye hunamunya asase so etenabea. Etubon say Daniel will make reference to saa asɛm no. What must say? Na Bible can say Onyankopɔn bɛma wiasefo enyansa ayɛ nkwase asɛm a. This is what he means by that. This is an example. So Onyankopɔn nyansa or the mawa ɛboro nyansa bebree so. Yo, na nyame asɛm na wapui. Na nyansa we. What must say? Ya brano eko enya de betima koso bebree.
Yeah.
By Joe. Nebuchadnezzar catch them nkrofon say, "You have purpose in your heart to lie to me." Verse 9. You want me to tell you the dream so that you can lie to me. Nkrofo bebree ho a Joe, omdo mo nsɛm atoto abɔnten, omo ama asɔfo atoto omo ano, na they have lied to them. And Joe, the most harmful thing, self-harmful thing in the world is believing a lie.
Self-deceit. Nada.
Joe, is the most dangerous thing any man can ever do to himself. You know, Nebuchadnezzar catch him and say, "I'm not ready for you to lie to me. I'm wise enough to know that you want to lie to me. Tell me the dream, and I will believe what you're telling me." Joe, Nebuchadnezzar can't tell Nkrofo say, "Monye sa Nkrofo say nana, ye ni nyame bi an tramche, ye nipa kra de yentumi ye. Empo enyame kra no mo asase, so they can't do that." Joe, praise be to God, say, sa same way and okre. Abosomsom, abaigro, any magicians, anyone whining and cabaret for no. Joe, they can't even read your mind. Do you see how powerful it is? Say, God is the only man or the only being who can read minds. When I mean quantity to me, it's Joe. Say, why Jane would you be one? But phone to me show mama so who I do. I say, before on to me who I do that. I guess the key or not. People should learn from that. Esan say, or say a boss would be as simple. Or want to be run a book and Adjunu and go who they want to trimu no more mecha. A ginia mea ne trambia any assassin so. Yes, soon yamea. Tias for it will be Christonia. Masaniama way and show cranny. Say, Daniel, at the end of the day, they see you better or next week, Yamia Adama. You will be able to tell the dream. Daniel, and now, oh, better bet me some more.
No, we don't know. We can't go further. I'll shift I'll get back to you within some 2 minutes. We'll wrap it up. But my main fact is I'll shift. I think it's best we end here because Hannah, as I said, no, I could do pen so any job, my main catch and casual for say. We are live on Facebook, we are live on YouTube, and we are live on it. So drop a comment in the comment section. I'm on a question to our God's Virtual School, building stronger families. I think it will be website, Facebook channel. It was a great job, brothers. I think on also doing the other on YouTube. You're live on Facebook, you're live on YouTube, and you're live on X. Unsubscribe to Charity TV, or more than subscribe to Charity TV. send a bear call life house between Argentina and joining. But a quick one. I have been a course and one
So the first time person doing and say it is not TME can be it is not every dream that you have no and yet nyankopon communicating to you. What was it? Nebuchadnezzar have had several dreams. This is a specific dream. This is not the first. The Bible doesn't say so. This is the first time Nebuchadnezzar have ever had a dream. What was I say? Etiyema ye nuanum nyina mete asese nye se ukoda na so da ye bia ye se upe bibi attribute to the biana obinu create me ya to the stance afi okeka number boom we happen 5 times we happen 20 times we make it this comment this number it okay kabo ma onya lotto numbers too sure too direct there be offer jai Nebuchadnezzar had a dream. He wanted his astrologers, his magicians, sorcerers to tell him the dream. Yo, what movies be to say Seeker? Am I kind of saying?
The Legend of the Seeker.
Legend of the Seeker. What Merlin?
Merlin, yeah. Harry Potter.
What Harry Potter? And Bakubi Kran and saying the king of the all those friends, Asian kingdom things now. You get to see say somewhere you can and yet stories they are real things that happen those times. What do I say? The kings and the people believe so much in these things. The people Daniel Nyamba Mukrao, yo yanka Daniel once more. Game of the Throne, Obidiaba. What must say? Nyamba and some Daniel crying Nyamba same no. But the Chaldeans made a profound statement. And that is what I want to end with. They said the thing that a king is demanding is so difficult. And there's not a God who dwelling is among men who can do this, except the gods who dwelling are not among the flesh. Yo, we are serving the God of heaven, the God whose dwelling is not among us, but he is still present with us. He is omnipresent. And that God is the God who is inviting you to become a Christian. That God is the God who is calling you to hold on to your faith, because after the storms, he will still be there with you. Otman said, "It's the same God who is calling on you, say, be someone who is convicted to your faith. Hold on with God, because at the last time, no, he is still going to be there standing with you in victory." In the answer, a Christopher said, "Don't let us back down when things come so difficult. Don't let us give up, because we have a God whose dwelling place is not among men." Onyankopon sebe yananam ka se onye mosini jo Onyankopon onye mosini Onyankopon onye nipa etil moma yanyire ehunu nkura ejide mu. Going forward, we're going to see a lot of things that Onyankopon be unfolding in this chapter, telling us that he is the God who rules in the affairs of men. Thank you for having me, Joe.
Medase oji bre na ba asadanka Nyankopon na is bin so nka Brashadak say oji ne bre na ana oni be kan ho on Street Talk that yejundwe ne ma ho asadanko ma won so oji bre na ohwe yen. It's not been easy, but you have been with us. The book of Daniel and visions. Yedi ensem nyina ebe wi na yeka wo say Revelation chapter 11 verse number 15 and someone and your trough one kan John etroye na wote on the numu say on asumu ne say ahinie ewo wiase ahinie no abaye ye wurade ene ya jenkwa no dia na obedi hina kosida. God is in charge, is in control of affairs. It doesn't matter how life is going. Mfa ho ne de wiase ko, mfa ho ne de obretwa ye chifa ana mfa ho ne de community ene de ekoso wiase. Ahinie beko ahinie beba, aman beko aman besore, amamuo besore amamuo beba. Ba Nyankopon adara so de hine. Nyankopon kan ho, onka ho. Na da se na ye hia bi mu a the book of Daniel and visions, the besa aka ho asem bi. Nidiane Jonathan Mensa Bonsu. Until then, take care of yourself and good night. Bye bye, Macau.